Yo, yo! This is the Hood2Hooded podcast, and I am your host, Dr. Chiefess Sunflower. Back for day 20 of the Consistency Project. Listen, guys, I almost didn't make it. I almost didn't make it, but I just can't quit. I just can't quit. You know, they say it takes 21 days to make a habit come to life or come to fruition. So we at day 20, and day 20 might be the day that a lot of people want to throw in the towel. So I see you to my Niji, all my copper tone, beautiful people on Turtle Island and melanated people around the world, and just all of the positive people of, everywhere. How y'all feeling tonight? Let me know where you watching this from. If you watching this on the talk, let me know how you feeling tonight. If you watching this on the Twitch, let me know how you feeling. If you watching us on YouTube, pump some hearts. So today I want to talk about affliction on your journey. So I just want to, give some inspiration and tell you about affliction on your journey from a Niji standpoint and going from hood to hooded. Because it can be tough believing in yourself, following your dreams, learning about who you are, making sure the history checks out, making sure you're on the right path, when you don't have a roadmap. See, me, I came from hood to hooded. So when I say that, that really describes exactly what my life is. It's from hood to hooded. Okay? So a lot of people don't know my story, so I'm pretty new to Twitch. And you guys, honestly, I'm new to this platform, and I said I wanted to build a community, like a new, fresh community for Dr. Chiefess Sunflower, to my Niji out there, to my tribe, to people who have positive energy, to people who want to know more about oral health care and just spread knowledge and just grow, elevate. We talk about the theory of knowledge. Like, we don't just accept the knowledge people bring us. We have to make sure it checks out, okay? You got to make sure it checks out, because I've been hearing about a lot of pseudo history going around the world. A lot of pseudo history. So I was bamboozled for years and years and years in an identity that wasn't my own. So that part of my life is what I call that hood shit. When you generationally curse. You know what I'm saying? When you got nothing but negative vibes around you, nothing but poor mindsets, nothing but poverty, disadvantaged stereotypes around you, when you grow up in the hood. Okay? Hood could mean living paycheck to paycheck, payday loans, all these type of things. That's hood shit. So when I say hood to hooded, it means going from that mindset, that type of generational curses, to elevating to something past that. But it takes so much to come up out of that spot. So for me, I don't know who else is out there, if you grew up without your parents, or everybody has different afflictions that cause them stress, drama, pain, trauma, heartbreak, heartache, where you have to learn how to discern as you grow through life when you come from the hood. Okay? So that's what I want to get into tonight, chat. I want to just tell y'all a little bit of my story and about coming from hood to hooded, and just to inspire somebody, just one part, let's inspire one person to start that business, to start that YouTube, to step out on faith, to step out on action, to stop procrastinating, to just be consistent with yourself, to follow your dreams, to set those goals, to really stand on business when it comes to you and who you are. Or to that person just new to being in the knowledge about the true identity, just awakening. Like, to just continue to learn and grow. That's me. I'm kind of new to it. Every day I find out some new shit. I be like, what the hell? Like, every day. But growing every single day. Showing up every single day. So this is what I'm testing myself on. So I challenge you guys out there to do the consistency project. Show up 365 days for yourself. Even on the days where you feel afflicted. Through the depression, through the heartache, through the pain, through the loss, through the trauma, through the drama, through that hood shit. Just know and change your mindset to say, you know what? I can elevate my life. I can elevate and get my personal development into a place where I have a higher quality of life. I'm not bothered by the matrix or the pseudo history or none of this fake stuff out here. I'm making money moves, investing in knowledge, and just growing. You know? And we on a journey, 365 days. I'm only on day 20, so I'm there. I'm at the beginning, guys. I'm at the beginning. I'm at the very, very beginning. Okay. So, if you don't know my story, some people may, some people don't. Probably not a lot of people on Twitch because I don't really have an audience. And even on YouTube, I wouldn't think so. But I came from poverty. I came from the hood. I came from a mom who was 14 years old when she had me. A teenage mother. And my father was a little older. But I came from that childhood where people kind of think you don't really have a chance. You got a 14-year-old mother, right? You got a young dad who's just, you know, he's in his young mindset, chasing women, dating all kinds of women. It's not like that typical family unit. It's just like baby mama, baby daddy in the hood, drama fighting type shit. You know what I'm saying? So my mom, she was so young. At some point, she realized that she couldn't take care of my sister and I have 3 siblings. Younger brother, younger sister. So she sent us to live with my dad's mother. My dad was really not there, but that's where she sent us to live when we were 4 or 5. Before all this, there's a lot of things in the story, but I'm just trying to fast forward it to show you the affliction that you might go through when you're on your journey from hood to hooded, right? So, my mom died when I was around 8 years old in a car accident. And that was very tragic. I was living with my grandmother at the time. My dad, he was unfortunately involved with, you know, trying to be a player, in and out of jail, going to prison, things like this the entire time. So he wasn't that typical father, you know. I know that he loved me, but it's just, when you that young in the South, Florida, the cops are very aggressive and they target melanated men. And my dad is chocolate. He copper tone with deep copper tone. So you know that's an automatic target. That's why history is important. So understanding the history, I used to live with a lot of like anger and being mad and not understanding his actions. But I got over it because I understand the generational curse involved in it all. And a lot of people don't even have that type of intellect to understand, damn it, I get why my parents are like that because they kind of didn't have a chance either. That's why it's a curse, because it causes us to play that blame game and everybody's mad and everybody just wants to use that trauma as an excuse. Use that affliction as an excuse not to be great. You know what I'm saying, chat? So my dad was not really there, and I could have had a real mean grudge. I kind of did a little bit because, you know, he wasn't really there. And so growing up as a teenager, I went through custody battles. So I had 2 grandmas, my mom's mom and my dad's mom, constantly custody battles in court. I never stayed at the same school. Like I went to 4, 5 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and like 2 high schools, but back and forth. So, the stability was kind of crazy. And People don't understand how court and adults going through custody battles impacts the children. You know what I mean? They don't understand how it impacts the children. You know? They don't understand. And I had one grandma who really, I feel like she got us because she really loved us. She did it without child support and all these things. And I had one grandma who I felt was more like monetary based, you know? I'm just being honest, guys, because that's the only way to heal is when you can be honest about the affliction, talk about the trauma, be open. You know, that's how the relationships heal. That's how they heal, guys. So just going through that and a whole bunch of other stuff that it's not enough time on this podcast to talk about all the trauma and affliction that I went through, but just think about some of the things that you might have went through that you still remember to this day, and maybe it kind of hinders you or it's a source of depression, like losing my mom at such a young age and not having my father in the household, and you know him sometimes in the household raising other kids, or going to prison to see him, or just getting those letters from prison, or just not ever having like a father daughter, I don't know, what you would expect from a father. It's just different, you know what I mean? Just different. But the thing is, chat, I don't want you to feel sorry. I just want to just talk about the Hood2Hooded journey and some of the affliction that you might face, the ups and the downs and the losses that you undergo, and the feelings of, you know, even with custody battles, and sometimes not the best person winning without the best goals for you, you know, and just being that ambitious person to keep fighting for your dreams. It gets hard. It gets tough. Sometimes you just don't want to keep going, and it's so easy. I just want to stress, it's so easy, my Niji. It's so easy, my Niji, to get comfortable and say, you know what? I don't even want to go that far no more because I don't think I can do it. And the moment that you count yourself out, the moment that you throw in the towel, the moment that you don't care who you are, you won't be this African American, you don't want to do your genealogy, you just don't give a damn, is the moment that you count yourself out. Let's talk about counting yourself out on your journey from Hood2Hooded, because you're not always gonna have that family support. You might not always have your parents. You might not always have the money. You might not always have everything you need, my Niji. But guess what? If you have that passion and that purpose and that positive energy, that optimism, listen, baby, you can create something from nothing. So on my journey from Hood2Hooded, it's about creating something from nothing. In a place where I didn't have the typical parents, the silver spoon, all of that shit, didn't have it. Even the knowledge that it requires for you to elevate and make those networking connections, sometimes you don't have it. You have to create these things for yourself. So when they talk about like creating a seat at the table or creating your own table, this is what we talking about, my Niji. Don't settle at all. Don't settle at all. Even with the economy nowadays, there's a lot of fear things going on. The economy crashing, this going on. But guess what? My heart's still going. My mind's still going. My brain's still going. The sun's still gonna shine tomorrow. Can we still learn about who we are, grow and find our purpose, and not quit on ourselves? Even on those days when you feel afflicted. Like today. It's a Sunday. It's the 20 days of going live. And I'm like, dang, I don't know if I'm doing it right. Showing up, talking to yourself might seem a little delulu. But guess what? You got to live in your purpose. Be you at all times. Be unapologetic. And just continue to fight through every up and down that you have. Through every stormy day that you have. Through all the trauma, all the drama. All the, people talk about haters. All the haters. All the people who doubt you. All the people who couldn't do you. Be you. Chosen one. Baby, listen. You the one. You the one, my Niji. You the one. You the one. So on those days when I felt so lost as a young child, like crying, depression, defeated, feeling like I couldn't make it, wanting to give up, there is always something that pulled me back into the vibes of dreaming, the vibes of just always wanting to grow every single day. That's how I came up on the knowledge of being a Niji, just surrounding myself around people who care about who they are, care about the knowledge that they consume, because consuming knowledge is a thing. You can consume some badass knowledge, some fake pseudo history knowledge, and then have you all in the matrix, all lost, all confused, like you just don't know what road to take. And we can't follow the leader when it comes to our dreams, because guess what? Remember last week we talked about when we read the book Eat That Frog, only 3%, you see that? 3% of people, my Niji, have clear written goals. Everybody else is just dreaming and wishing. And I don't want to be in the number of the people who just dreaming and motherfucking wishing. I want to be in the number of the people who got the clear written goals, who showing up every day for their self, despite the affliction, despite the drama that you may be facing, despite any trauma that you might be holding on to from your childhood or from your life in general. Every day, people are going through it. Every day. So that's why this consistency project is so important to me, because it's also still in some kind of way helping me break my procrastination, my lack of consistency when it comes to doing the things that I truly want to do, and getting out of the vibe of trying to strive for, like, oh, if it's not perfect, then I have to wait until it's perfect. And I feel like that stops a lot of us from moving. It stops a lot of us from unlocking the key, unlocking the secrets to greatness, to success, to overcoming that inertia, the energy that you need to begin, to overcoming that. It stops us. It holds us in this motherfucking chokehold where we just can't move. And that's the generational curse. Where you can't move, you can't dream, you comfortable with just like, I just take whatever the hell you give me. And my Niji, that is unacceptable. We no longer allowing that pseudo energy. We ain't allowing that pseudo energy. We ain't allowing that sanitized history, baby. What? No, thank you. I'm gonna need the authentic copper tone knowledge. Okay? Okay, my Niji. I need the authentic. We don't want no pseudo soup. No thanks. No thanks. So, yeah, you're going to face some affliction. Our ancestors faced more affliction than we could ever know. We could ever know. We could ever know. Like, and that's why this podcast is so, or this consistency challenge, I'm excited to present the knowledge. I'm excited to test the theories of knowledge because I think it's important that people know the truth. Like, because without telling the truth, how can history heal? If you going through trauma and you never talk about the trauma, you never get it out, you never, express yourself with the trauma, it never really heals. It just stays bottled inside. And people who get bottled inside, they harbor a lot of negative energy. And it might not be energy that you're even putting out to other people. You might be nice to other people. But guess what? That negative energy lives in you. It breathes and grows in you every day when you don't express yourself to get it out. So even with the pseudo history and the lies, I feel like people don't want to talk about it. People are comfortable, staying in that place. But it's important to going from hood to hooded too. Every part of the hood to hooded journey taps into who you are, your emotions, from a spiritual standpoint, from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, from a scholastic standpoint. Even with the education that you've done, you have to go back and try to decipher what was true and what wasn't. So for me, I learn something new every day. And it's just shocking because it goes against all the things, all of the knowledge all of the pseudo knowledge, I'll say, that was spoon fed to me. It wasn't my choice. You know what I mean? So, yeah, my Niji. But the affliction that we face, the generational curses that were created by, white supremacy and all of the different things that try to erase the Niji, try to sanitize the history, and not include us or even let the world know, hey, this is history, this is the Niji. They own these historical monuments and the attire and the culture, but we try to erase it and use it and minimize them and use it as our own. It's so sad and heartbreaking. So that's where these generational curses come from. And even though I was in a great place with my dad since growing up without his presence in the home or the financial support or just not having that on this hooded journey and feeling kind of alone on this journey, because people don't really believe that this child born into a 14-year-old mother without her father, going through custody battles, just this kind of wild, intelligent teenager, will go to college, earn a degree from Florida State University. Not only a degree, but I went to Florida State, got my associates, my bachelor's, and 2 minors, a minor in business and a minor in biology. We had the passion to just even think that she could be a doctor. And to even pursue something like that. They wouldn't think that, okay, she didn't get in the first time, so she's going to go get a master's and try again and then get in and actually complete the program. One of the hardest programs ever. A doctor of dental surgery program. 4 years of fucking torture. I won't say torture, but I mean, this is an honest podcast, guys. Remember, I gotta be myself. I gotta be me, right? It was kind of like, it was fun, but it was kind of like, woo, baby, listen, it is not a joke. It is not a game. You gotta be on point. From the first moment of just getting into dental school, day one is not a joke. And they let you know that before you get in, and while you in there, day one, the upperclassmen say, hey, dental school is not a joke. So I didn't take it for a joke. Day one, I was on point, studying, trying to figure it out. Coming from the hood now, because I'm in here with people who got legacy, people who got history. They might have some parents who doctors already and prepared them since they was born. I'm in this motherfucker like, whew. My ancestors, please be with me. I don't have no parents here cheering me on. I don't really have a family here cheering me on. I mean, my family was proud, but they don't understand like the financial support that come with that, and I was dealing with a lot of things, like a lot of trauma, even at that point in the Hood2Hooded journey, dealing with a bad relationship, trying to be something and taking care of a man, looking for love in all the wrong places. I had a lot going on in my Hood2Hooded journey. A lot of things that could have wiped my whole entire dream away. At any moment, it could have just been over. Like, you got to think from childhood, facing those stereotypes that we face coming from poverty. And then when you go to college, you face different stereotypes and issues, having to work and go to school. Some college kids don't have to do that. I had a lot of college friends who didn't have to do that. They could just go to their dorm room and study and go to class. I had to work 2-3 jobs at some point in college. Yes, I knew it was hindering my grades, but these were the young and dumb decisions that I made as a teenager and as a college student. Like, okay, I'm in this relationship, I'm taking it too serious, like, it's moving too fast, but I'm also in school and trying to manage that, and I'm the only provider in this shit now, and now I'm going to school, I'm taking care of 2 people now, and that's the hood shit that impacts you when you coming from nothing. You don't have that roadmap. You don't have those parents to kind of be like, hey, no relationship, no, that guides you. You got to make weird decisions for yourself, and a lot of times you get delayed. But you know what they say, you might be delayed, baby, but you're not denied if you never quit on yourself. So even though I had all these things going on, the quitter just wasn't in my DNA. My ancestors didn't come from that. They were Niji, they were chiefesses, they were builders, creators, So going through that experience with college, that was tough. Getting into Meharry Medical College, that was extremely tough. Like, extremely tough. But I knew, just from, like I said, the students and the faculty, that it wasn't a game. I had made it in. I have to get in and get out. I met a mentor, Dr. Polk, when I was trying to shadow and get those letter of recommendations and trying again after I didn't get in the first time. I found a mentor. He said, get in and get out. And that stuck with me. I got to get in and get out. It goes to show you the same energy that you use to start whatever obstacle that you're facing, whatever journey that you're on, whatever affliction that you're trying to overcome, whatever obstacle or goal that you have, you want to start and begin how you want it to end. So if you want it to begin with a lot of passion, a lot of flavor, a lot of spirit, a lot of positive energy, just good vibes, and that's how you have to end. You want to begin how you want it to end. So begin, boots on the ground, as they say nowadays. you want to begin with your boots on the ground, baby. So that's how you want to begin, especially coming from the hood when the odds are 10 times more stacked against you. Even through dental school, you're going to meet those obstacles again. I feel like if somebody were to ask me, do you think poverty kind of delayed or made your journey 100 times harder? Hell yeah. Like I said, just so many times that the failure is right next door, and all you got to do is say, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. I quit. I'm giving up. I just want to be comfortable, and I'm finna settle for this. Where I am right now, I'm just going to settle right here. I'm not trying no more. I'm not going to start no business. I don't care about my quality of life. I don't care about my personal development. I just don't care. I just want to quit. I give up. I got too many excuses. I'm too traumatized. I hold too much in. I just don't. This happened to me. That happened to me. I feel that. It goes on and on and on. Or we can be one of those people who fight and never give up. You're going to be one of those people who say, you know what? I want to keep growing and learning every day, even though I make mistakes, even though I am so imperfect in every way possible. I'm still going to show up with my head high, my Niji. Head high as possible. Like, crown on, glowing. What's up? I'm here. I'm ready. I want to grow. I want to learn. I want to know. This is how we showing up for ourselves when it comes to living our best life and dreaming and not being a part of a matrix mindset. You know, standing on business, not standing on pseudo history, not standing on quitting, not standing on failures, just holding us down, not standing on comfort, you know, standing on business. And honestly, me guys, I'm still trying to see how my Niji mindset, being Muskogee and Creek, all these things play out in the future when it comes to the land, when it comes to, you know, the government failing, when it comes to just getting our sovereignty back. I'm still trying to figure that part out. That's the next level for me. Like, how do I become sovereign? Like, if I'm sovereign, I shouldn't be paying for education. My dental school education shouldn't be $500,000. I should be able to get loans for my business, for my dental practice, where I help people on Turtle Island without feeling like, oh, I'm African. I want to be able to get back in my correct identity. You know, how do I access these things? I'm still learning and growing because I don't know. But that's the next level, I would think, for us as Niji, is to figure out that, like, on this Hood2Hooded journey, because, you know, what's next? What's next? So this is the mindset, my Niji, just to grow every day, never quit on yourself, excuse me, and to never lose your passion. Sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you, like on this journey, showing up every day, only being on day 20, and I said 365 days, bam, my tribe, I said 365 days of showing up for at least an hour a day to chill with my community. Regardless if I'm showing up one person, a lot of times, I got okay with that because it's a purpose about starting and not being afraid of, you know, of whatever could be wrong. Just not being afraid and just showing up. And this is helping me on my Hood2Hooded journey, just continuing to unlock some deeper generational curses, because when we talk about breaking generational curses on our Hood2Hooded journey, there's so many levels of generational curses that we can't even begin the process. So once you break one level, it's kind of like a video game. You continue to break different levels of curses, or different levels of mental blocks that prevent you from progressing, or that have you in this box mindset. Thank God, well, thank goodness for the internet, because now we can see into different cultures, see more behind the scenes, versus back in the day when pseudo history was just taking over. They were teaching it in every way possible, in every institution that they ever created. And we know the true institutions, the schools, the churches, the prisons. These are institutions. So if they passing around paper, cotton money with presidents on them who were enslaved people owners, who were unaliving people in wars, who were stealing land, then, you know, it's all a process. It's all a part of the matrix. And every time I talk about this stuff, I feel so strange, but I can't go back to what I used to know. I gotta stand in what my current knowledge is, you know? I just have to do it. And this is something that we face, and I say this every time I talk about my Niji knowledge, is because I feel weird because I'm still new to it, but I stand on it, and yeah, I have to be unapologetic about it, you know? Because it's so heartbreaking when you learn these things. It's like baffling half of the time. Because y'all know, yesterday, Chief Warhorse she went live. And I love learning from my elders, so I follow a lot of Niji elders on YouTube and some on TikTok. Tag some if you know them. I don't know everybody, but if you know, you know. So if you know other people who are into this and who know that we are American Indian and the hijacking that has went on, and they are great teachers, please tag me, because I'm just a baby in this knowledge. But each one teach one. When it comes to the hood-to-hooded stuff, that's why this podcast is so unique, because I'm coming from a standpoint where I have been fully educated in the educational system from K through the doctoral level. And then upon completing that process, feeling like, okay, I got everything I need to know to live a true, fruitful quality of life, I realized something was missing. And I had a loved one tell me, hey, this is the piece that's missing, is knowing who you are. So it led me to do my genealogy, and that just unlocked the key for me. Because I could sit and listen to, people tell me who I am, but it doesn't make sense until you do your genealogy, and you're like, oh, wow. And you actually see the tree that you're actually connected to, like your family tree, with your great tribal members, your ancestors. It is truly mind-blowing. So that's why I love listening to the elders. I love growing every day, and this community is helping me grow every day. I am meeting new people, showing up here despite how strange it is in this beginning times of being on Twitch, and just learning this platform. Last night I tried to, after I went live, I wanted to get back on and play a video game. So I downloaded this game, but it kind of made my computer crash, because this computer isn't really for streaming. I just do it regardless, because I'm just, like, no excuses. I'm going to be consistent, and I'd rather stream on the computer than my phone. So, yeah. But it didn't work. So... So I have all of those things that can help this stream grow on my wish list. And I feel like if we keep going, eventually we will elevate in every way possible. But anywho, so after listening to the live with Chief Warhorse yesterday, let me just switch. Let me just switch something up, Okay, so yesterday they told me about this new information. I went and found the PDF of the document, and this is how I learned a lot of things. It's just by networking, because if you think, our history really isn't taught. Copper tone, American Indian, true Niji history, not Native American, but the true Niji history really isn't taught. It's been banned. Kind of like when they banned us from playing, how she said, playing, what was it, stickball. How they banned us from wearing our regalia. How they banned us from meeting in large groups and fellowshipping. All of these things were banned. And they created laws to prevent us from being our best and expressing our culture, right? So yesterday in the meeting, or I'm talking about meeting in the live, she mentioned going and reading Improved Order of Red Men, and so I kind of dug into it a little bit today, and I'm just like, what? So colonizers basically banned us from wearing our tribal wear and gathering, but created Order of the Red Men, these groups. And so Order of the Red Men, the KK, the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, what else? The Masons, something else they said fall under this, where they they're allowed to wear our tribal wear and basically cosplay like us. And I found that Hawks School Albert Pike, he made the 5 civilized tribes, and he also started the KK. Yes, the KKK. So do y'all understand what that means? Like, the person who made such an evil organization like the Order of the Red Man and all the other ones that I just mentioned, they also created the 5 civilized tribes. So when people talk about history hijacking, that's like one key detail, because they basically pick, Mongolians and other immigrants to come to the 5 civilized tribes school. Look it up. Get on Chat GPT and look it up. But the 5 civilized tribes schools, where they train these immigrants to be chiefs, where they would have meetings and try to learn how to be us and prevent us from being us. It is kind of like psychotic, the things that I learned about history. Like, not the pseudo history, but the band history. It is pretty psychotic. They call themselves tribes and wigwam and sachem, and they pretended to be us, which is the Niji, while actually excluding us from being the Niji and using our own symbols. So they used our symbols, but prevented us from using our symbols. Now, how psychotic is that? How? Can't make this up, my Niji. Can't make this up, my Niji. So this is what they was doing, and it was kind of shocking when I learned this yesterday. Like, cause I'm in this live, like, I don't know what they talking about. They kept mentioning Order of the Red Man, and I'm like, I'm so lost with this. Like, what? But when I actually went to dig it up and see what the hell they was talking about, this is what I discovered. Order of the Red Man is a white fraternal organization founded in 1834, tracing back to groups like the Sons of Liberty during the American Revolution. And despite the terms that they were using, the indigenous Niji imagery they use, like tribes, they had no real connection to the Niji, us, the indigenous people. They just mimicked us. And it says, it's an example of white groups appropriating indigenous symbols while excluding the actual indigenous people. Yep. Now that's crazy. And then they also had something called a Pocahontas Council. It refers to a regional council in the Boy Scouts of America named after Pocahontas. Yep. It said naming things after Pocahontas was part of a long pattern where white American institutions romanticized Native identity while erasing real Native people and sovereignty. That's crazy. So it said no real connection to the Niji, no real connection to the indigenous people. It was symbolic and very disrespectful. Most of us continue to claim that we are African American and we didn't do our genealogy, and we have no idea that these things exist, and they are a mockery of us immigrants getting to basically mythologize and pretend. And it's kind of crazy, the things that I learned. They crazy. That's why this Hood2Hooded podcast is, talking about real shit. We can't stay on a pseudo history forever. We gotta elevate, man. Some days we just gotta learn this. Maybe this is a history night. What's tonight? Sunday, history night. But Niji connection. What is the connection between the Order of the Red Man and the Niji? It says Niji is an Ojibwe, a Anishinaabe word meaning friend or my friend. So when I say Niji, that's what it means. It's an Ojibwe word meaning friend or my friend. So let's see if we can put this on the screen here. I'm going to add an annotate to our screen. And let's just write it for you. So Niji. Uh-oh. Let's erase. So when I'm saying Niji, I hope this looks okay. When I'm saying Niji, this is an O-J-I-B-W-E word. And it means, this is what it means. It means, hold on. Let me get y'all right over here on TikTok. I will keep this here on the chat. It means friend, or it could mean my friend. So when I say Asio my Niji, I really don't even have to say my, but I just like that. I could just say Asio Niji, you know. Zach B, hi doc. Do you ever get bitten by patients? Love what you do. Hello, Zach B. Thank you for joining. And absolutely, I have gotten bitten by a patient when I was working in pediatric dentist, in a pediatric dental office. And I had one patient, she might have been about 3 or 4. Not very fond of dentists, which most people are. 99% of the people will let me know, how much they hate the dentist, right? So this patient did not want to get her, most kids don't. Some kids do, but this one just didn't. So she had the trick up her sleeve. As soon as I went in without what we call a bite block to prevent patients from biting down, and this is my lesson I learned during my first couple of years of being a dentist, I always use a bite block. So I put no bite block in. I went in to anesthetize her, and she bit down. And baby, she bit down. She said, she was like a dog on a bone on my finger. So her mom was screaming like, hey, let her hand go, stop. And I'm just sitting here like, you know, because you in your doctor mode. You got this white coat on. You can't just be like, hey, little girl, you know. Whew. So yeah, one of my horror stories of being a doctor. Somebody actually bit me. And it does happen. Sometimes I'm like, oh, hey, you almost bit me there. Good question. But yeah, so that's what Ojibwe means. And, you know, so that's what they were mocking. The Ojibwe, the Niji. And then I just was so surprised when I learned about the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. It says Boy Scouts of America was founded in 1910. It has long used indigenous imagery, ceremonies, names, and fake traditions based on whitewashed ideas of native culture. Order of the Arrow is a primary example. It says Girl Scouts also used native-like names for camps, awards, and ceremonies early on. These organizations were mostly segregated early on, meaning black or native children were often excluded or given separate, less resourced groups. Yes. So stole our identity and then used it and then didn't allow our indigenous children to use it. Okay? It says the Indian lore in scouting was another example of cultural appropriation under a broader umbrella of reinforcing American nationalism and settler colonial pride. It's crazy how all of these things are connected. Then it says white supremacy and KK connections. It says around that same time with the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, late 1800s, early 1900s, fraternal organizations like the Red Men, the KK, the Elks, and others flourished. Many groups, though some used different imagery like native or medieval, shared similar goals: preserving white civilization, controlling political and social spaces, and maintaining racial hierarchies. The KK explicitly pushed white supremacy, while organizations like the Red Men did it more subtly through exclusion, myth-making, and cultural appropriation, meaning banning the Niji from wearing their stuff and speaking their language and doing their meeting up, and just our culture, banning us from using our culture and then stealing it and then using it in our face, making money off of it, training their children off of it. It's just kind of such a disgrace. Then it says many members of the KK were also members of legitimate organizations like the Red Men, the Elks. So I seen these Elks lounge and I always wonder what the hell is that. So that's what that is. Masons, and even some branches of early Boy Scouts leadership. It was a network of reinforcing whiteness under different brands. This is what I found out today, guys. Now, summary of these connections of the Order of the Red Man, Pocahontas Council, and early Boy and Girl Scouts all reflect how white American society used fake indigenous identity to build their own myths of origin while excluding the real indigenous Niji people. They helped normalize white supremacy culturally while groups like KK enforced it violently. It's all layers of the same structure: colonization, erasure, rebranding, and enforcement. Yeah. Yes, my Niji. So, we just learned a lot of history that most people don't know. And it's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people because, even during dental school, I had the opportunity to raise 3 kids in dental school. Don't ask me how. It's a whole long story. But while I had my nieces and nephews, I considered putting them in like Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, just because I thought it would keep them active, teach them something about, just life skills, not even knowing that this stuff is connected to the KK. What the? I know it ain't. I know it's kind of hidden and covered up nowadays, but this is why history is so important, my Niji. This is why it's so important, because if you don't understand what you're doing and the things that you're supporting, and you just want to be careful. That's why playing in the Matrix is kind of dangerous. And that's why every day I learn and I grow, and I'm unapologetic about it, I want to know the truth. I don't want to learn fake shit. I don't. I want to learn real knowledge. Even if it hurts. Last year when I was uncovering a lot of this stuff and, what am I doing? Somebody told me a lot of this history. I kind of didn't believe it until I did my genealogy, which kind of put timeline into perspective for me and introduced me to my ancestors, my real ancestors. And then I learned so much other knowledge, and I'm like, a lot of those days I cried last year because I felt bamboozled. I say this probably every stream. I felt bamboozled, and I don't want other people to feel bamboozled. I know these things are hard to learn, but when you come in from hood to hood, a lot of the things that I'm reading, how they took our identity, gave us less quality, created this impoverished, background, coming from hood, they created this hood narrative, and made the kids who looked like me, the copper tone kids, feel like we were less than and less supreme, and all of this bullshit. Meanwhile, our ancestors owned these things. This was our identity. This was our culture. Now you guys just play with it in our face and act like we're not a part of it. Weird as fuck. Like, you guys, that's weird. That's weird. So when I see things like, oh, the government's crashing, the government has done a lot of trauma. So a lot of the childhood trauma, a lot of those grudges that people have for their parents, it's really towards the government. It's really towards the pseudo history. It's really towards the people who did these things. It's just like my Niji. I don't know. It's heartbreaking. So I learned about this book yesterday, and I just started digging into it, but I'm just really shocked. Like, what? I wasn't. And this is how it is when you are finding out, that you're Niji and learning about different sources. There's so much receipts, so many receipts on this stuff. That's why it's banned a lot in school, because it's like, what? So when I was reading this today, and I'm trying to figure out what are they talking about yesterday when I was in the live, I did not know that I was going to run across this type of information, my Niji. I didn't. If you could have any superpower to help with your job as a dentist, what would it be? If I could have any superpower to help with my job as a dentist, what would it be? That's a good question. So my job as a dentist is really to help people get out of pain and restore their teeth. So if I had a superpower, I would have a superpower to just like recreate smiles. You know what I mean? Just go around and just recreating smiles, and zoop, you got a new smile. And making people smile like that. I don't know if that's a big superpower. I don't know how that would really save the world, but I don't know. Maybe we'll give people more confidence, more positivity. Fight off negative energy, basically. Restoring smiles. Yeah, that would be my superpower. Just like, zzz, you get a smile. Bzz, 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 Yep. But guys, today is day 20 of the Consistency Project. I did show up and chill with my tribe. So yeah, thank you Zach B for stopping in and chit-chatting and asking some great questions and bringing that dentistry into the live, because you guys know I love talking about teeth and my job as a doctor. Yep, that's my primary, job. Secondary job, which I think it is my another primary job, is I like streaming. So this is why I show up here every day, and tomorrow is day 21, baby. 21. Check me out. Not quitting. Showing up consistently. It gets hard. Today was hard. It's Sunday. I'm like, dang, I could just chill out, but every day I just continue to show up because I have a goal. So thank you to everybody who stops in. It's different people showing up every night because my time is a little sporadic right now, and I don't want to lock into a specific time because my focus is consistency, meaning just showing up. So sometimes that varies, and I don't want to get a specific time yet. I'm still figuring it out. So thank you to everybody who watches the replays, shows love to my page, to my new subscribers, to the people who support my content, and just for everybody who is growing with me on this journey and discovering who we are, maintaining those positive vibes, and just being the best that we can be. Yep. So he says, thank you so much for your answer, Dr. Sean. Woo woo. I really appreciate it. Listen, thank you as well for even joining me. All right. So So you guys have a wonderful night, and guess what? I will be back here tomorrow night. Don't count me out. Tomorrow is day 21 of the Consistency Project. So bring your questions, get you a little cup of tea, because you never know what we're going to talk about, but you know we're going to talk about something real, something educational, or something motivational on the Hood2Hooded podcast. If you are not following me, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you want to catch the replays of the Hood2Hooded podcast without all the fluff and the, my and that type of thing, you can find it on anywhere podcasts are available, including Spotify. Another thing is, one more thing. Is that it? I think that's all I had to say. Oh, I got some new hoodies coming soon, so get ready to check those out. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. This is Dr. Chiefess Sunflower, and we all the way live. Hey, we all the way live. And guess what? I'm all the way out. Have a good night, guys. Talk to you later. Zach B.